Come in. The key is in the door.
Mrs. Brinks? Eric's formal wear. I brought the dress.
Just a moment.
I brought along a size 11 also. Just in case it didn't fit, they run a little small.
A scene from Old Boyfriends with John Belushi encountering Talia Shire. He's one of the old boyfriends she visits on a cross-country trip to rediscover her past. Old Boyfriends is just one of 5 new films we'll be reviewing on Sneak Previews, 2 film critics discussing the latest movies. And this is Roger Ebert, the film critic of the Chicago Sun-Times.
Across the aisle from me is Gene Siskel, film critic of the Chicago Tribune. In addition to Old Boyfriends, we'll be reviewing
Real Life, a comedy by Albert Brooks, Bill Murray in the comedy Where the Buffalo Roam,
and Chevy Chase in Modern Problems, a movie about coming apart in the 1980s. But first, Gene starts with a little Hanky Panky.
Well, it can be described in one word, and the word is cute. Hanky Panky with Gene Wilder and Gilda Radner is a screwball comedy about that old standby, the innocent man wrongly accused. The movie begins with Wilder accidentally getting involved with a woman who has a magnetic tape with important national security secrets on it. She's killed, Wilder is suspect, and then he hooks up with Gilda Radner, and soon they are both on the run from the police.
Oh, it was nice meeting you, Michael. I hope everything works out.
Where are you going? You can't go. They'll blame this one on me, too. Will you wait a minute?
I was just trying to help.
You're the only alibi I've got. You understand that if the police come in... Oh! Give me your key.
Hey, what?
Give me your key to the apartment.
Oh, all right. Wait a minute.
They're coming. They're coming. How can you get the key if you don't open the purse? You gotta open it. What the hell have you got?
Get out of my purse. I'm looking for it. It's supposed to be...
I gotta get out of here.
Mind if I join you?
Where are we?
Come on, this way. Come on, this way. I got a car a couple blocks away. Come on. Act normal.
I gotta get some clothes.
Cute, right? Well, the whole movie is that way, combining a solid amount of tension and comedy. This next scene is the funniest one in the movie, as Wilder and Radner are now on the run, actually on the fly, in a plane over the Grand Canyon with a pilot who is no longer in control.
Mr. Morgan, are you all right?
Of course he's all right. What are you asking stupid questions for? He's fine.
Michael is dead.
He is not dead. Don't say he's dead. The man is resting.
Look at him.
I don't have to look at him. They give me a gas. He's having a gas attack. That's all.
Michael, do something.
I am doing something. I'm crashing an airplane. Oh, my God.
Do you see it, Michael?
Yeah.
See it?
Yes.
Do you see it?
Yes.
What is it?
I see a rock. I see a rock. Hey.
He's the best at doing that. I wasn't expecting much, though, when I went to see this film, because Wilder previously has seemed excessively frantic in a lot of his roles, almost manic. Radner has been in only one other film, a miserable comedy called First Family, so I wasn't expecting much. But together, in this script, directed by Sidney Poitier, it really all works. Tension, not too much comedy, and above all, Hanky Panky is cute.
I was surprised, too.
Yeah.
After sitting there for 5 or 10 minutes, I wasn't expecting too much because I could immediately identify the genre, which is everybody's going to have a case of mistaken identity. They'll chase the wrong man. Everybody will be after the wrong thing.
Right.
Everybody will be at cross purposes. What happens in a movie like this when you more or less know what expectations you have for the plot is that everything depends on the performances. And Wilder was good, and Gilda Radner was good. You know, Wilder, you're right. Sometimes he seems to act as if his toe is stuck in an electric socket off camera or something.
And
this time, he was just right.
I think the direction, Sidney Poitier, he did Stir Crazy, now this film, I thought the direction was actually a little tight. And I felt that the film didn't dissolve into just silliness, but you felt that the characters were in jeopardy. And I was very surprised. I also noticed with Poitier directing, there were a lot more black people in supporting roles, in minor roles, in crowd scenes. And I think that sends a clue, which is that if there's going to be a change around, as we had hoped, in the employment of black people in the film industry, it's going to take some black directors to do it.
We still think of him as an actor, and this is his 6th or 7th credit, and it's a very good job of comedy directing, and comedy directing is harder sometimes.
I agree. I was
directing.
Caught by surprise and I liked it.
We move on now from a movie that seemed, to me anyway, like a small miracle, to a movie that seems slapped together out of second thoughts, half-baked comic ideas, and misunderstood characters. The movie's called Modern Problems, stars Chevy Chase as an air traffic controller who develops the power of telekinesis, that's the ability to move objects by using the power just of your mind. And in this scene, his wife is breaking a date with him on the telephone, and Chase gets so distraught that the air traffic controller causes an airplane crash.
Hello, Darcy Carson.
I've been waiting for your call all day. What's going on?
I was going to call you when I got off work.
Well, I just got off. I'll pick you up right away and we can go eat.
Max, you're going to kill me. Barry's ballet opens tonight and Stolichnaya is dancing. I already promised him I'd go.
What?
I'm going out with Barry tonight.
Are you kidding? Barry the Bleeder? You really are involved with that guy, aren't you? Just like I thought.
Max, you know he's an old friend, and I've needed his company these last few days. Tonight he needs me.
You liar. You knew last night you were going out with him, didn't you?
Max, last night was very promising. Please don't blow it.
You never did love me, did you, Darcy?
Before long, things are flying around every room Chevy Chase is in.
Now, we can do this easy, or we can do it rough. These is knuckles you is looking at.
Well, you don't see that every day, but then again, who wants to? It doesn't make the movie funny. Modern Problems is a film that seems to have been made without having been written first. Comic situations aren't thought out or explored. Characters behave in ways that are supposed to be funny, but they simply aren't funny characters. Chevy Chase doesn't grow and change and suffer comically after he develops his strange power. He just floats through situations like a cut-rate nightclub magician. Modern Problem suffers from comedy's oldest problem, which is it's not funny.
I agree, and I think you put your finger on the problem with it, which is the writing. This film starts off in one direction. It's going to be a catalog of all the problems that a guy can suffer, broke up relationships, nuclear energy, all this stuff. And then it swings into special effects, parroting Carrie and The Exorcist. It seems like there's been a couple of rewrites of the script here, and I don't think any of them have worked. I don't know what this film wanted to be, but it sure isn't any one thing.
You're right. They should have started out and said, here's Chevy Chase, here's his situation, here's what happens, instead of, here are various studies for a movie on the subject of telekinesis.
We want revenge. That would have been the most obvious thing.
Sure.
Revenge. And he has a special power, now let's knock heck out of everybody. Never happens. Now we come to a comedy. And a sense of humor, I think, is a very personal thing. And so I think you're going to find out now something about me when I say that I really enjoyed the comedy Real Life by Albert Brooks. Real Life is a parody of documentary filmmakers who try to get up close and personal to their subjects, who try to reveal through a camera, well, real life. Albert Brooks stars as director, filming a documentary on a typical American family. Now, to get up close and personal, he first greets the family with some psychologists at the airport as the family returns home from a vacation. Now, this Brooks is a clever guy. He's built special cameras called Ettenauer 2000s with the cameramen wear over their heads. They're supposed to be unobtrusive, but these guys look like they came from Star Wars.
Oh, I got mixed up myself. I thought the planes were right. Hey, hello! He barely knows me. Welcome home. Aloha. Look at this now. Look at this. Real orchids. Hello, Mrs. Yeager. And you, oh, look at this. Come here. Look at that. Okay. Do we know everybody? These, of course, are the Ettenauers. I think you read the literature on them. These are my two psychological consultants. They're going to be with us for the entire year, making sure everything is just perfect. Did you meet Howard at the Institute?
I don't think so.
Dr. Howard Hill. He's from the Institute, huh?
This gentleman's going to be with us for the entire year.
Yes, he ideas. I won't be degrading. I'll do it right this time.
I'm Dr. Ted Clary. I'm not really a consultant. I'm more of an observer. You see, I'm writing a series of articles on this project for the Journal of American Psychology.
He's a very, very well-known author, written lots of books. You know he's going to publish the articles he's writing? Did you tell him?
I did tell him, yes.
The Journal of American Psychology, maybe the most prestigious scientific journal in the world, I swear to God. You know who reads these things? Jonas Salk, Buckminster Fuller, William Buckley, every scientist living. They go out to the mailbox, they get them like magazines. We're all going to be on Jonas Salk's coffee table. Can you believe it? He loves it. Okay, one last thing, then I'm staying out of your lives. Limo back to the house, huh? Just a special treat. Come on, let's go to the limo.
They're all going to be on Jonas Salk's coffee table. Now, this obviously is a put-down of Hollywood filmmakers who just try to take over a situation and think that any problem can be solved with limousine or money. Now, later in the film, this director, Brooks, follows the mother of the family to her gynecologist to get to know her better. And what follows is a parody of 60 Minutes.
Margaret, be with you in a few minutes. Mrs. Yeager, how you feeling?
Oh, much better, thank you.
What is this? What are these?
These are cameras.
Oh, no. Oh, damn it. What's going on here? I was clear. Now, come on, you get out of here. I don't need you in here.
Wait, this is a big motion picture. I'm Albert Brooks. How are you?
I don't care who the hell you are. Talk to my lawyer. Look, I was clear. Get out, out.
Dr. Renner, these people are with me. They're filming my life.
Mrs. Yeager, I'm sorry, but I've had some bad experiences with the 60 Minutes people.
No, we're not news. We're not digging. I don't even ask any questions. I mean, I'm just filming her, and right now you're in their life.
They're in my life. Mrs. Yeager, I'm getting awfully angry. My blood pressure's starting to soar. Now, what do you want me to do? You want them in here? Fine. Then they can take out your IUD. To Thorazine.
No, you don't understand. Wait, I know what he wants. This isn't a student film. I mean, what are we talking about? Look, there's 4 of us here, okay? He wants an abortion, all right? 2. Make it 2. I'll take a hysterectomy. She'll have the same. How about this? For parking, you think 500 might do it? I just want to film her life. Please, don't make trouble.
You're actually going to give me $500 to film an examination?
Oh, my God. Maxwell Renner, the baby broke.
Oh, damn it. Come on, get out of here. I don't need this.
Who is this man?
Didn't you see that incredible thing Mike Wallace did on him? This man sold children. They were like baby slave auctions.
Oh,
One of the
my
best things on
God.
60 Minutes
Mike
I've ever
Wallace
seen.
sent me a letter of apology.
Oh, I'll bet he did. Let's see it.
It's out being permaplaque. Now, you get out of here.
I'll take a hysterectomy. That's ridiculous. That stuff is very funny to me. I like the targets Albert Brooks has picked to skewer, and I like the way he skewers them with enthusiasm, good humor, and a little bit of bitterness. Now, Roger, you told me that you saw the picture and you disagree with me.
I did kind of let that drop, Gene. In fact, I think I was screaming at you before the movie, before the program began.
That's funny stuff.
You're talking about, you said, this tells us something about you. I don't know what it tells you, except that humor is involuntary. People who laugh at something can't necessarily explain it rationally. I can't explain why you laugh at this picture. I did not find it funny. I found it very unfunny. The first 15 minutes might have made kind of a nice short for Saturday Night Live or something, which is where Albert Brooks came from. But then it just repeated the same comic premise over and over and over again.
You see, and I think it built. First, he greets him at the airport. Then he's into this woman's doctor's office. Eventually, in his effort to make a film that's successful and dramatic, he burns their house down. And
look at this guy. Look at this guy. You're making a movie yourself. You're sitting here giving me this stuff in such a way that makes me laugh at it.
Yes, I love
You're
comedy.
funny describing the things, but the movie isn't funny when it shows them.
Well, that was my response to the picture. This guy strikes my funny bone. This enthusiasm, this blindsidedness of a Hollywood director knocks me out.
Okay, in that case, we disagree, right?
Okay.
You think that movie was funny. I think the next film is funny, so I recommend mine. You recommend yours. My film is called Old Boyfriends, and right at the beginning of Old Boyfriends, Talia Shire reads to us from her diary. Her life hasn't turned out to her satisfaction, she's discovered, and so she's decided to go on a trip and revisit 3 of her old boyfriends. She thinks that if she can find out where she went wrong with them or where they went wrong with her, she can figure out how to repair her own life. Well, one of the boyfriends is John Belushi, last seen in Animal House. Now he's running a tuxedo rental company in Denver. She dresses in red because she'd like him to think he's about to be seduced.
Thanks very much.
Hey, you're Diane Cruz. Diane Cruz from Central High. Don't you remember me? Eric Katz.
Eric, oh, Eric, my God. Oh, my God, of course. I didn't expect to. Oh, Eric, look, we got to talk. Let me take these. I got to try these on. There's a bottle of scotch over there that they sent me. You open it, pour yourself a drink, and I'll be right back. I think this is ridiculous.
Yeah, well, me and the boys are playing a lot of high school proms, you know. You remember my band, don't you? We used to wear those red shirts, the blue dickies, and we used to wear the blue shirts. You could see the dickie right through. But anyway, I realized I could make some money in clothes. You know, the kids have to rent tuxes and formals to proms, so why not rent them from me, Eric Katz, the guy who plays the proms?
You could almost read Belushi's mind. He's out on delivery. He finds Talia Shire in an negligee. Boy, is he lucky, but boy, is he in for an unpleasant surprise. If that scene didn't seem quite realistic, there's a reason for that. The director of Old Boyfriends, Joan Tewksbury, doesn't intend for us to see the story on a literal level. She sees it more as a fairy tale in which the young princess goes off to visit 3 Prince Charmings, and the first character is sort of heroic. The second is Belushi, who we just saw. And then she meets Keith Carradine, who is the brother of her old boyfriend, Louis, who was killed in Vietnam. Carradine is a special case.
I had quite a crush on Louis.
I guess everybody did. They made a big deal out of it when they brought his body back. They had a parade and made speeches.
What do you do? Did you join the service too?
No. I was exempted by the sole surviving son provision.
What do you do now?
Odd jobs. I help out at the store sometimes.
Where do you live?
Here. I'm the sole surviving son.
Oh.
Louis let me visit him at the camp once. Everybody went, but I was the one he wanted to see.
Were you his favorite?
Sure, he was mine.
He was mine, too.
Louis was going to be a writer.
Sometimes I write stories.
Maybe you could write a story about it.
Maybe I could write a story about you.
Maybe.
Maybe we could be friends.
You can kind of glimpse strange things there in Carradine's mind. Old Boyfriends is an ambitious movie that wants to say a lot of things about love and memory and madness and about the real nature of relationships between men and women. But it doesn't always succeed, maybe because it tries to do too many things for one movie. There are sad scenes and violent ones and others that are played simply for laughs, and the movie never quite comes together, but it is original and it's interesting and it has some fine moments. I'd take a chance on it.
I wanted to take a chance on it, especially when she says she's going to go back and revisit her past. But we find out that isn't what she's really up to. It's such a depressing, downbeat character. I really didn't care about her journey.
I think the movie is about the fact that what she says she's going to do at the beginning is not what she's really going to do. The revelation of her real motives are part of the film.
Well, if it had been a stronger film up until then the revelation would have made some sense. But since we don't get it in the beginning, I was thoroughly confused, really.
Well, I don't think it's a great film, but I did think it was very much worth seeing.
Well, one thing, it's a lot better than our next picture, that's for sure. I was looking forward to Where the Buffalo Roam, our next picture, an account of Rolling Stone counterculture journalist Hunter S. Thompson, who wrote so colorfully in the early 70s about such subjects as our national elections in the book Fear and Loathing on the Campaign Trail, and on the Las Vegas scene in the book Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. In his writings, Thompson portrayed himself as a wild and crazy drug fiend and boozer. He may be that, I don't know, but for sure he was a superb cultural reporter, and unfortunately, the movie leaves that out and just concentrate on Bill Murray from Saturday Night Live playing Thompson as a complete clown. For example, when he plays touch football in his hotel room with a hotel waiter and the waiter's girlfriend, Thompson is causing quite a ruckus, and that upsets another hotel resident who stops 2 midget bellboys to ask them for help.
Excuse me. You guys, come here for a minute, will you? What's your name?
Briggs. Benny.
Blackie. Listen, you gotta do me a favor. You know what, tomorrow's Super Sunday. I gotta get a super rest. You gotta get down the hall. You guys look like you know what you're doing. You gotta get down the hallway over there and throw a muzzle over that fruitcake.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I'll take care of it.
This is for you, and this is for you. You're gonna take care of it now.
Yeah, I'll take care of it.
Now you'll take care of it. Right over there.
No more phone calls, damn it! I want some discipline on that front desk, huh? Does the name Vince Lombardi mean anything in this town? Hollywood scum. All right. Rose. Rose, you turn it over on downs. I'm sorry. It's our ball. Angel, let's do it. I think third down conversions are going to tell the story. All right.
Go down behind the bar. I'll look for you. All right, she's in that Dallas Flex. 23! Yeah!
How to help him?
Hey, hello?
Hamburger, pork chop, hot, hot! Force the scramble! Touchdown!
Touchdown. Wait, hey, hold it. Now, come on. I got a key here someplace. I'll take care of it.
Just don't let him.
Hey,
Go ahead.
don't worry about a thing. I got it.
What's it really, Pepper? Pick him up, bros! Duh!
Well, that's funny a little bit, but a question occurs. Where is Hunter Thompson, the writer, in all of that? He's supposed to be covering the Super Bowl for Rolling Stone magazine, but we never find out what he thinks or feels about the Super Bowl or what he's writing about it. And that's the whole problem with Where the Buffalo Roam. It's slapstick comedy that tells us nothing about its subject, writer Hunter S. Thompson. This movie is about a writer. It's supposed to be about a writer, at least. No, it's just about a clown.
You know, there's a problem with that, and I think you probably agree. The problem with all movies about writers is it's very boring to show a writer writing. Now, if you have Michelangelo painting the Sistine Chapel, you can complain about his arm cramping or something, but a writer at a typewriter, that's nothing. And so they just have all of these stunts, and Hunter S. Thompson racing around making a fool of himself, which for all I know may be what he did in real life, but it's not why we're interested in him.
That's right. The movie is more about this character that they kid around in the Doonesbury cartoon strip. They call him Duke there. And it's a laughing-stock kind of film. I think that part of the problem may have been that right now, Bill Murray is a bigger star to young people, who the movie's obviously pitched at. It was a bigger star than Hunter S. Thompson. And as a result, Bill Murray is sort of a clownish character on Saturday Night Live, so the movie's been structured to help Bill Murray's career and forget Thompson, forget the writer. As you say, it's too tough to show a writer. We lose the writer.
There's somebody else who's forgotten in this picture. It's allegedly about the friendship between Hunter S. Thompson and his lawyer, who's named in the movie Carl Laszlo, played by Peter Boyle.
Right.
At no point do we understand why they have a friendship, why they're friends, what they have in common, or why they like each other. He's just thrown in as part of the general melee.
Here's the worst thing of all. This movie's about a writer. Any movie about a writer ought to make you want to read what the guy's written. You would never get that feeling from this picture.
That's for sure.
You'll remember Bill Murray more than you'll ever remember Hunter S. Thompson from the film.
Well, thank you, Spot, for a complete change of pace. Here he is leaping into the balcony. Spot the Wonder Dog here to help us pick the dogs of the week, the week's worst movies.
Well, my dog this week is a rotten film from last summer that has resurfaced in some theaters now, and I want to drown it. It's the Gong Show movie, and yes, it's the story of the life and times of Chuck Barris, the creator of that late and disgusting TV show. Here we learn that poor Chucky Boy has some emotional problems resulting from the success of his show. He doesn't like fame, we're told. Sure he doesn't. That's why he named his company Chuck Barris Productions. But his story is just a cover for the centerpiece of the movie, which is a series of outtakes from some of the most offensive acts that have appeared on the Gong Show, acts featuring vulgar toilet and sexual humor. This should be a dog-gonged movie, I think.
Ouch, what a pun.
My dog this week is a movie called Super Fuzz, a cops and robbers comedy that is similar to the current Chevy Chase comedy called Modern Problems. Terrence Hill plays a Miami cop in Super Fuzz who comes in contact with nuclear radiation, and suddenly he's endowed, just like Chevy Chase, with superpowers, X-ray vision, the ability to fall from tall buildings in a single bounce and walk on water. One fall from the 20th floor is funny. More than one is not funny, and that's what makes Super Fuzz a dog, much like your dog, Roger. Super Fuzz has an idea that's worth maybe about 40 minutes of film. Unfortunately, it runs on, repeating itself for almost another hour.
Well, so much for the dogs. Let's take another look at the main movies on this program.
Both Roger and I thought Hanky Panky with Gene Wilder and Gilda Radner was a cute screwball comedy. 2 yes votes for that, meaning yes, we both can recommend you see it.
I also found good things in Old Boyfriends. It doesn't succeed completely, but I think it's worth seeing. Gene didn't believe in its lead character.
We also disagree on the Albert Brooks comedy, Real Life. A strong yes for me. Roger wonders if he saw the same movie I did, because he says a strong no. I'm wondering what you saw, Roger. And we're both disappointed by Bill Murray clowning it up as writer Hunter S. Thompson in Where the Buffalo Roam. We can't recommend you see it. And we agree again on Chevy Chase in Modern Problems, a dismal comedy that can't make up its mind whether it wants to be social satire or a special effects movie parody. 2 strong no votes for that. Well, that's it for this show. Next time on Sneak Previews, Roger and I will review 5 new films, including some of the big Christmas movies. 1941, a big new comedy by Steven Spielberg, the director of Jaws. Jack Nicholson as a Western outlaw in Goin' South.
And Life in the Army with Bill Murray in Stripes. Until then, we'll see you at the movies.
Funding for sneak previews was provided by this station and by other public television stations.